Yeah, so getting rid of the Ryze, something that's often banned away from Easyhoon, as he gets at least 2 bans in his back pocket. What this usually means is with a champion pool of 4, and having 3 of those banned in Ryze, Lissandra, Azir, we're probably just going to see Victor. Well, that's probably just what we're going to see.
Let's see if Vici decide to pick that one up.
It's interesting though, because there's a lot of bans that are focused on this middle lane quite heavily. Yep. Even this last one that they put out is one of Dade's champions that he's played twice now. And this means that middle lane, even in regards to first pick, could be a point of focus, but considering that Rek'Sai is still on the board, there's still a lot of strong champions there. We'll see if they look towards that middle lane as a higher priority than the rest. Given who is playing against each other right now, Easyhoon and Dade, I wouldn't blame them for focusing that.
Rek'Sai, Jhin, Bard, Braum, a lot of very heavy first pick champions coming out here. I'd like to see if Newbee decide to go for the Victor route, take it away from Easyhoon.
They should. Dade also plays it quite well.
It seems like they're going to go with that train of thought here. Taking away the Victor from Easyhoon after multiple target bans went towards the mid laner.
And if they do lock this in, they don't.
Not.
It would mean that Easyhoon will have to play a brand new champion.
Instead, Nidalee is going to get through picks and bans here, so we'll be locked in for Newbee as their jungler of choice.
Nidalee. Be seen on Swift. He is a great Nidalee player.
That's right.
Nidalee, of course, seeing some slight touch-ups means that she is a little bit more fragile in the way of her jungling and slower in her clear, but not by anything that it's too substantial.
And it really fits Swift's playstyle. Something we talked about before the broadcast is Swift is a very damage and gold focused jungler. Picking up Nidalee, he's able to do those 2 things. Farm up quite nicely and dish out tons of damage. As that's a very quick lock-in of the Twisted Fate and Braum coming out from Vici.
Yeah, early rotation here in the draft of Twisted Fate for Easyhoon, and that means we are seeing something new, and it does mean that there is a lot of map movement and rotation available. Vici seemingly channeling their inner snake right now, picking up this Twisted Fate. I like it.
Surprising after we thought that Victor would be the heavily contender mid laner between the two, between Dade and Easyhoon, with game number 1 at least.
Twisted Fate's also just such a reliable champion. He's so mobile, can get around the map. He's one of the few control mages that you can pick up any summoner spells you'd like. Ghost, Teleport, Cleanse, Ignite, depends on the matchup. So as far as a blind pick goes, you're reasonably content with it.
Permanently banned against you right now, Rusty.
It is. And we're not talking about Snake's old mid laner. So it got you there. Yeah. You gotta be careful.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
The letter U, the letter V, they're all taken in the LPL. Good luck.
But Sivir and Bard are going to be the next 2 lock-ins coming in for Newbee here. So they've decided what they're going to be playing into the bottom lane.
One of the few similarities that the AD carries of Vici share, both Xuan P and Endless, is Lucian. But Endless usually has the Ezreal, whereas Xuan P is the Twitch, which is what Easyhoon was hovering.
Dandy is going to be getting his Graves here, though, which is going to be locked in. He's played 29 games of Graves this season. So in both summer and springs, but he's by far most played champion so far.
He's an exceptional Graves player. Interestingly enough, though, Rek'Sai completely passes through the picks and bans.
Yep.
Not to be seen. Kindred as well, not contested. And as far as I'm concerned, both Graves and Nidalee are the 3rd and 4th best. Perhaps below them.
He's played Graves so much this season that he doesn't even have another champion that's in double digits. His next most played is Kindred and Nidalee, that's played 9 times. Then Rek'Sai. He likes this champion.
He likes it a lot. But we've seen Endless also locking in this Ashe pick, which, once again, plays to Endless's strengths on this roster. That he is the facilitator. The Ezreal for the slows, the Sivir for the ultimate. Ashe for the arrow now fits nicely with that trend. So, very nice to see Endless sticking to that.
We've seen her resurge in popularity since 6-11 across multiple regions as well.
Need to initiate Twisted Fate and Ashe as a combo. Can follow an initiation very nicely, as well as Braum. Graves to proc the Braum. I feel like as far as a 4-man goes from Vici, yet to round it out with the top laner, they can pick anything they'd want.
That's a Yasuo lock-in.
Damn, Dade.
Coming in for Newbee. Dade has some business here in this game, as Maokai is also going to be the top laner of choice coming out for Newbee. Whew.
I'm just happy.
I can tell.
Oh, yeah, is it the smile or is it obvious? Dade going for the Yasuo, though. That throws the gauntlet. It's been hot-fixed a couple of patches ago, so the Twisted Fate cards no longer go through the wind wall. It's going to make life a lot easier for Dade. And it means the matchup is heavily in a Yasuo's favor, though.
Loong is also going to be getting his Trundle in this game to be played up in the top lane against V's Maokai. So a very nice, well-rounded team composition coming out from Vici, something very similar to what we saw Snake play last night.
Yeah.
And a unique pick one more time, following the trend of week 4 of the LPL. We've got a Yasuo in this game, another pick that we haven't seen for quite some time now.
So I do want to talk about Vici just quickly, because they've established themselves, we mentioned this as well, a strong 4-man unit.
Yep.
And now Loong can be with the team, he can be away from the team. It doesn't really matter too much now. They don't need engage from him either. That's why he's on that Trundle, control his lane. And Loong's job is to beat V senseless.
Well, let's see if we can do just that. We saw Marin rain havoc on a Trundle last night. Even Sivir using it quite nicely from the support position from Game Talents. So as a champion that we know has a lot of capabilities to carry out games. Hopefully Loong can do the same thing we saw Marin do last night, because that was an impressive feat for even a Trundle.
Yeah, definitely was. Marin stepped up to the plate. This time around, though, up against a Yasuo and a Nidalee. There are a lot of carries that can take him down.
Well, let's see how these carries pan out as we head into game number 1 between Newbee and Vici. And we've loaded on to Summoner's Rift here for game number 1 between Newbee and Vici. Both these teams is going to be running across the map here, trying to pan out and try and scout out as much vision as possible. So we get a little bit of a tour around Summoner's Rift. Thank you, Observer, showing us that our Cloud Dragon will be the first dragon to spawn in this game as well.
Yeah, so showing us that the first Drake is the least influential of the lot, as far as priorities lie, and that lane swaps are entirely feasible, given that. The circumstances are there for them.
Gives us some time to take a look at the Keystone Masteries as well. Nothing out of the ordinary coming out. Strength of the Ages on Dandy for his Graves, not Thunderlords like we saw last night.
Oh, and he's got the best skin.
Warlord's Bloodlust being picked up by this Yasuo as well as the Sivir. Ashe instead opting for Fervor of Battle.
Sivir, one of the few AD carries that's sticking to the Warlord's Bloodlust, and Yasuo has basically gone through many existential crises with what he should actually be picking up. Fervor of Battle still does the most damage. Grasp of the Undying is the most sustain, but Warlord's Bloodlust seems to find a happy middle point between the offense tree and sustain. So naturally, Dade looking towards this middle ground there.
It used to be the most picked summoner spell for Yasuo, back when it relied on crit chance. Now just gives you extra lifesteal based on your missing health. We are going to see Swift here, starts on the bottom side of the map, taking away his red buff at level 1 with the help of V, which means that Newbee are going to initiate a lane swap here. Loong will be heading up towards the top side of the map, so it will not be matched by Vici.
What a disaster that trap is as well. It's forever standing, but you're right, yeah. We're going to see a lane swap, and it's by Newbee, which is a curious thing. Sivir Bard's such an overwhelming lane. But we've already spoken to the strength of an Ashe just in general. And it could mean that they don't want to fight the laning phase against Vici, or they want to hide V away from Loong.
Also gives a isolated matchup in the mid lane between Yasuo and Twisted Fate here. We'll have to see how this one pans out between Dade and Easyhoon. So far, it's just been Yasuo pushing Twisted Fate in towards his turret.
Oh, early from Caveman.
Ooh.
Level 1. Danny's also near enough with Loong, so Dade has to play this one careful.
Dade is pushed out quite high here, so it is a threat.
So he should actually be careful anyway, because the minions are pushing back towards him.
Well,
He's never going to be there.
Loong does go up
Now.
and tries to go for the gank as well, but Dade is positioned quite nicely to get towards his turret in time.
But again, that was minion control. So the only reason they went in when they did is because they couldn't go in and just wanted to put some damage on him. Maybe make Dade feel scared, blow a ward early. But everything will pretty much even out as expected.
Well played coming out from Dade here. Does hit level 3, so we'll have that wind wall available now in the mid lane to help him out against the gold cards that will come up from Twisted Fate. We do see the respective swapped lanes now crash on towards the first turret. So the outer turrets are going to be taken down up in the top side for Newbee. Vici, on the other hand, will be able to take down the bottom lane outer turret. As Easyhoon taking a lot of damage here from Dade. Swift's going to be coming in for a gank, slows him down with the red buff. Easyhoon has to flash away. So summon a spell, burnt in the mid lane. Yeah,
and only the flash is a defensive summoner this time around for Easyhoon because he's looking towards the teleport route. The other confusing thing is that Dade has matched his teleport and has one of his own on Yasuo. Something we very rarely see. Very adaptive play and a lot of preference on teleport as a summoner spell for mid laners in the LPL, full stop.
Well, let's see how Dade is going to be able to use his interesting choice of summoner spell here. As we have seen the outer turrets in the top and bottom lane fall down for Newbee and Vici.
He's making me happy to watch the mechanics as well. I could almost sit here and have like a silent movie of Yasuo last hitting minions under turret.
For those of you that don't know, it's Rusty's favourite champion here. So
it's got nothing to do with that. He's just so good at it.
Happy man today. I think it just adds on to that fact.
Yeah, a little bit. Is that not satisfying? Look how far ahead he is of Easyhoon.
He's doing well. He's 15 CS up. He's going to be able to take down these 5 minions underneath the turrets.
No, he's not. Nope, he's really not. There we go.
Everything.
CF's notoriously good at last hitting under turrets as well, so unfortunate stuff for Easyhoon. It's the whole miss one, miss a lot of them type of scenario.
Dade doing well in this mid lane. It's the only place where we see a CS discrepancy at the moment. Everywhere else is rather even. We're going to have to see where they send their AD carries and supports now, as it did look like Newbee wanted to send Happy and more down towards the bottom side of the map. We see recalls coming out from Loong, in fact, once he spots that. But V is still heading down towards bottom side, so we still will see the standard swap around one more time. Both the outer turrets in the top lane and bottom lane will get taken down again.
That's right, so it looks like Newbee want to continue the trend. Something the LPL does occasionally is just completely avoid the second part of the lane swap. There's more pressure again.
Whew. That is satisfying to watch.
Great skin. I'm going to stand by that. But yeah, we are seeing a completely standard lane swap, and it's almost becoming less common than the half lane swap and then break. Both of these teams happy to get the farm. It makes a lot of sense that Vici would.
Yep.
They do love that slow map play. They're a very damage control team. They're very cerebral, similar to Team WE that we saw competing yesterday.
To be fair to both these teams, as Easyhoon just takes even more damage here in the mid lane. To be fair to both these teams, they both like to play those very long, drawn-out games, just in very different styles, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. Newbee are a team fighting team. They're notorious for 10,000 gold deficits being nothing but dirt off their shoulder. Whereas Vici need to set themselves up properly as an ult in.
Easyhoon actually going to get jumped on by Dade here. Dandy, though, making his way towards the mid lane. He's going to be able to stop Dade from putting out any more aggression towards this Twisted Fate.
And he's simply pressuring because both of these champions, Twisted Fate and Yasuo, at low health values, favors the Yasuo massively. Not only does he have Warlord's Bloodlust, but he has a wind wall to outplay. Twisted Fate needs to mind game to have any semblance of an outplay.
However, with Easyhoon being forced back to base, it's going to allow Newbee to try and get some control over this Cloud Dragon. They have 4 members down towards the bottom side of the map now, and we'll be able to take down the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, so uncontested first dragon, whenever they decide to kill it. V's not going to get stopped, thankfully. He teleported, never mind.
V actually heads up towards the top side of the map here, so he's going to be able to stop Loong from taking down this turret for now. Gives Newbee a gold advantage, but we have seen what can potentially happen when you teleport to save a turret that is on the brink of dying.
Yeah, absolutely. That can backfire, or you can get baited into trying to kill the turret as well. Does go both ways. But at the moment, and as it stands, Newbee definitely a slight lead in their favor simply from early map playing.
2 turrets to 1, and this single dragon to their name.
It's also just Vici actually blundering that fact. A lot of movement around the map trying to either pressure Dade or not actually pushing with him from Dandy in particular. Usually when you're slower, your jungler wants to help out, but they don't. They just let it happen.
And now that we're going to see the teams finally swap out of this lane swap, so we will see the Maokai go up against Trundle up on the top side of the map. Meanwhile, the Sivir bar will go up against the Ashe and Braum, the bottom side of Summoner's Rift. This opens up the map quite nicely as well for Easyhoon if he decides to use his Destiny.
One of the other cool things, though, is that Swift gets blue buff in this matchup, so he'll be jungling quicker and more efficiently. Will not run out of mana, and something that Nidalee wants to have his mana everywhere. We'll have an abundance.
And that's something we talked about earlier as well. This is a very big matchup between Swift and Danny. Both of them really like to be damage-heavy, gold-oriented junglers, just that Danny acts more as a facilitator for his team. Swift just wants to kill people.
And the word buff is enticing the Swift, so he gets as many as he can. Dragon buff, Baron buff. The man just loves being buff.
Whereas Dandy, we talked about him being that facilitator, is looking towards the bottom lane now. A dive actually going to come in as well as that Destiny comes out, but they see Swift just behind the turret. They decide to back away immediately.
Swift has just got his spider sense tingling and absolutely just stops it from happening at all. When Easyhoon pops a Destiny, they see the Nidalee. The call was hell no. Because that's risky. Not only is it a Bard who has a lot of outplay, there's a Nidalee there with heals and execute damage, and a Sivir with a spell shield. It was a needless risk. So Vici, I'm going to say make the right call on not following that one, because an arrow just does not hit the mark.
Still 2 summoner spells burnt from Vici, and also a lot of global map pressure down from the arrow and from Twisted Fate's Destiny.
Yeah, most of their strengths lie there. So it's a cooldown reliant team from Vici.
Swift is actually heading up towards the top side of the map here. Loong has to be a little bit careful. Teleport's going to be coming in to try and stop this dive on towards the Trundle. That pillar's going to come down, locks down Newbee. First blood actually goes on over towards Loong on this Trundle. They're going to continue chasing. He goes for the flash, gets Swift, who flashes and pounces away. So summoner spell for summoner spell here.
Catching a Nidalee through the river is a difficult task. Not only are there masteries to help out move speed in the river, but there's bushes to speed you up. So Swift can kind of just walk that one out with a summoner spell trade, except that V dies for this, and Vici will be able to now break this turret, putting them at closer to where they wanted to be in the first place.
They send Endless and Caveman up towards the top side of the map there to deal with that one. And eventually will fall down, giving Vici a slight edge here. They're about a first blood's worth of gold ahead of Newbee at the moment, which is exactly where they should be. You can see that there's a CF discrepancy created in the mid lane for Dade already. He's about 20 CS ahead of Easyhoon, but it's not being nullified anywhere just yet.
And he still has his teleport, so this is a window where Easyhoon doesn't have his ultimate, doesn't have his teleport. He's used them both. They could try and look towards a map play here. On the side of Newbee. With Nidalee recalling, it doesn't look like they are going to opt towards that whatsoever. They're just chilling out and farming. Need those item spikes, and actually would imagine Dade has his now.
And that's what we kind of expect from these two teams.
Yeah, so big items now being picked up across the board, Fish. I think this could start to open the map up further. Rod
of Ages being picked up by Easyhoon, something we didn't see Tank do last night. He opted for the Lich Bane.
Definitely have their spider sensors on today.
They're ready for Vici.
They expect V to get dove, and Dandy was there looking to do it. But V's now baiting too hard. He may need to just engage here on the Caveman.
Well, he's going to do just that as the Twisted Fates does come down on towards the Braum. The spear is not going to connect coming from Swift. Magical Journey is coming down to try and chase down the AD carry support here. Exhaust actually coming out on top of Swift there. They have to run a very long way. Flash burn on Endless as well. They're going to jump on top of Caveman. They take him down. They also exhaust Endless. Vici getting locked out, and a double kill comes out for Swift.
And this is the old Newbee feeling a little bit more reinvigorated in game number 1. Big item spikes, big map plays. Not only is it predictive, it's active. And so if Vici don't make the play, they can still do it themselves. That's the strength that a Maokai provides for you. And just like that, a lot of pressure established on the top side, coinciding with where Newbee should be. And putting work.
Lots of early aggression coming up from the Newbee lineup this early into the game. They have surprisingly been reacting quite well to Vici's map rotation.
Dade's down here.
Dade's going to try and get a flank
around top as well.
Actually goes top instead. As more, he's going to get locked down by this gold card. Danny's going to put some extra damage down with the shotgun. Meanwhile, down bottom lane, Loong trying to go 2-on-1 against V and Dade. Did take down the bot lane in a turret, but will pay for it with his life. And so will the support on the side of Newbee, who gets taken out up on the top side of the map.
As far as trades are concerned, you'd say top laner for support. Fantastic work from Newbee, but they also lose a turret for their troubles, and it was the bottom lane inner. Twisted Fate doesn't have Teleport or Destiny, so they'll concede a Dragon from the looks of it. Depending on how he plays this. Yeah, he's just hanging around. But he might want to get some damage on the top side himself. So once again, the team that wants the team fight, Newbee, look for the team-based objective in neutral ground. Whereas Vici want to trade, want to damage control themselves a gold lead through turret takes and monetary advances.
They take an Ocean Dragon for themselves here, Newbee. So next Dragon to spawn will be another Ocean Dragon, another Cloud Dragon, sorry. But they're about 1,000 gold behind Vici at the moment. We know Newbee's a team that can fight from behind and not necessarily would like to. They pretty much like to be ahead throughout most of the game. But Vici, they've been doing well for themselves, moving on the map quite nicely. To see if they're able to keep it up against Newbee.
I think both teams will still get to where they want to be. Okay. Relatively contented with how they got there. Newbee still want a team fight, of course, and they want to have big item spikes, and they're halfway there.
You see Swift here. He's picked up his Runic Echoes on the Nidalee, as well as the Onion Boots on Lucidity. They're going to be clearing out the jungle even faster now on this Nidalee. We'll head back to base and pick up even more items. It is so Dade pick up his Phantom Dancer as the first item for Yasuo.
I think one of the most satisfying things that most junglers will ever do in their career of playing Nidalee is buy an item spike and have Smite up and start at the Raptors. Because you kill that camp within a second, you just feel so good about yourself. And then you try and gank and think you're stronger than you are. But everyone does it. It's great.
Is it really?
That's 100%. It's amazing. Killing that camp is the best. If you've never played Nidalee and cleared a jungle camp within a single second, you've never lived in League of Legends, I guess.
Well, Swift is having a fun time. He's not quite necessarily out farming Danny at the moment, who's notorious for doing well on Graves. We already mentioned that he's played it 29 times this season.
Lots of Graves. I think as far as matchups are concerned, Nidalee versus Graves is more spring. But with a lot of attention on the middle laners between Dade and Easyhoon. Makes sense that they'll still get the champions they want here on the side of Vici and Newbee in that jungle role.
Well, Easyhoon does have his Rod of Ages now, so stacking that one up nicely. Going for a Sheen as his second item.
And now we've got cooldowns up for Vici, so they're waiting for the Ashe arrow. You can see the pink wards placed as well, just next to the lane so that he can sit slightly to the side, utilize that vision control, hit the arrow, and then follow it up with a Twisted Fate or a Braum or a Graves Burst and take somebody out. But Newbee with their own vision are one step ahead.
They've got really good vision here.
Yeah, deep pinks.
You can see very deep vision onto the blue, near blue buff on the top right-hand side of the map. Here comes the Twisted Fate ultimate up towards the top side. Teleports are coming down as well. Dade and V are up here. Loong now might be caught in a sticky situation. That's a good ultimate coming out from Dade as well. V now going to try and lock them down. Twisted Fate does get the stun on towards V. It's down. Dandy shows up to the top side, turning it into a 2-on-3. And Vici find another pick for the team.
And Dade just says, sorry, man, but I actually can't help you at all. Just runs away. Concedes. Of course, Trundle, very difficult to kill. The target selection on the ultimate was to kill the Trundle. Questionable, honestly, from Newbee. But they try and get something out of nothing, and they end up with a 1 for nothing.
And so immediate teleport back to the mid lane for Easyhoon to try and hold that turret. It's Dade, he's now a top laner. He's moved up towards the top side of the map and just farming out these minions.
And while we're looking at him and nothing's really happening on the board, you have to remember that we're on 6.11 where Trinity Force has been altered.
Yep.
And so you shouldn't see the Yasuo pick that one up. However, most Yasuos have been experimenting. And whilst Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer is the standard and the strongest because you need 100% crit, Trinity Force as a third item, luxury item, is still fantastic. You get the Phage, your Q-Proc Sheen. You don't necessarily overkill with crit anymore either. And you get all of that 10% move speed in your back pocket, as well as the 40% attack speed that it's now buffed to give.
Well, for now he's got a BF sword here, so we'll have to see what he picks up first.
It should be Infinity Edge.
And if he goes for the Trinity Force later on in the match. Across the board, though, we're going to see Danny go towards a Zeal item. We see a lot of Graves move towards Yomu's Ghostblade again. We sort of have a brief stint with Phantom Dancer as their preferred item of choice. Danny looking like to do the same thing here in game number 1 between Vici and Newbee.
Yeah, the occasional more of Malmortius, but there's not enough magic damage burst really available to the side of Newbee, and that could be a present concern because Loong could be a one-item wonder, super tank.
Swift, however, is farming up quite well right now. 94, 95 CS here in the jungle. Does have that Rod of Ages stacking too. So it's going to become pretty dominant in the mid game.
Even counter jungling a little bit, ensuring that one creep stays alive. But Vici always looking for the team play. Right now that team play signals a epic monster.
That's something we see quite a lot when you have a Trundle on your team. Take down the Rift Tower, buff him up for another 20 minutes. So until 39 minutes into the game, which is fairly late, he's going to be a split-pushing monster that will be hard to deal with for the newbie roster.
And it's a nice to have as well. As far as Rift Herald is concerned, whilst it spawns at 6 minutes and leaves the Rift at 20, you want to get it later rather than sooner, because then you have your items completed and it's still a buff that you have available to you.
It can last throughout the game as well, if you use it properly. You can already see Loong's gone back to base, picked up the Ravenous Hydra, the first item of choice for most Trundles up in the top lane now. He's going for a little bit of tanky stats next as he has the Spectral Scowl to reduce some of the magic damage.
I like that he's gone for the armor boots because Yasuo can split push early, and remember he does have teleport. He might need some armor soon, Loong. Depending on how he wants to play this one out, Dade will start showing signs of aggression whenever he gets his crit. There's a guaranteed chance.
Meanwhile, Easyhoon, he's picked up his Lichbane on the Twisted Fate. Did have that Rod of Ages stacking first. The 80 carries, we saw Endless rush the Berserker Greaves. It's been buffed slightly, now gives 35% attack speed, over 30.
Yeah, it's usually picked up for the turret trades. Also just as an early efficient item, move speed is far too valuable for everybody on Summoner's Rift, and that's why we don't see a lot of Cassiopeia. Besides the one we still saw yesterday, and it won, God forbid.
Meanwhile, Swifty getting jumped on by Danny and Caveman. There's an arrow going out. He flashes, but straight into it. The knockup will come up from Braum as well. They go aggressively forward and find a pick. Now looking to try and tower dive Happy and more. That's a flash over the wall from Dade. A really aggressive move from the Greys to pick up another double kill.
And that was just straight up godlike from Dandy. They're looking for a 20-minute on-spawn Baron buff. They have a Trundle who is reasonably tanky in between V and Dade. I think they can stop this.
They've started to take down this Baron. V and Dade are making their way towards the pit to try and stop Vici from taking down this epic monster.
It's getting really low, though.
Sapling was thrown in.
And they concede.
Yep, decide to back off. The pillar comes out from Trundle to stop them from moving any further forward. And Vici, they've got a 5,000 goal lead and Baron just 20 minutes into this game.
A 20-minute Baron is one of the more proactive things that we have seen Vici do ever, full stop. You have to commend them on this because it's successful. They make the right call. The backing of their jungler, Dandy, gives them the right move to make. And off the back of a mistake from Newbee, Swift flashing into an Ashe arrow, and then an outright ballsy dive, to be perfectly frank, from Dandy. This is a mind game. That was a mind game for a win war. Swift at it again.
Swift now being rather aggressive here, trying to stop the Cloud Dragon from being taken by Newbee.
Now, the craziest thing is that Dandy didn't even ult. He just had so much damage, he crit constantly.
Teleport coming into mid lane, followed by a Destiny to close the gap coming out from Easyhoon. Ashe are going to whiff there, but Maul takes a lot of damage. The ultimate does come out from Bard to lock down Dandy. The rest of the team trying to collapse in towards them, but can't quite find an opening to get in there. Flash over the wall from Twisted Fate to get out of trouble. Dandy now has to be a bit careful. Use his flash in that previous engagement. So Newbee find a shutdown on towards the jungler.
Yeah, nice big pick, honestly. They missed the execution, Vici. They were looking for the Bard. Happy wastes his spell shield. They still don't get the kill, and everything turns back around. Miscommunication, honestly, was the look between these teams, giving Newbee a chance against a Baron buff team to get a turret.
They slow down the gold advantage that Vici have been trying to grow for themselves. The pillars are rather disgusting.
Too much traffic in that area.
We've seen a lot of good Trundle players in the LPL. Most of them positioning pillars pretty well.
That's what separates a good Trundle player from a great Trundle player. Is like everybody can hit their right button, right click on their mouse and press R when they're about to die. The pillar takes a bit of skill.
As they're still looking for picks here, Loong actually going to teleport really deep into the bottom lane. V going to take the magical journey to safety. Does get locked down by the Braum passive. Caveman puts a good ultimate down, locking up more. As a flash for Loong, going to jump on top of this Bard. One more auto attack will be enough. A good stun does come out to stop the advances from Vici. Loong is still looking for that pillar. A great one will separate more from the rest of his team. He's able to chomp him down.
They get the one pick, but best case scenario for Newbee was that one person only was to die. And Vici can't push from it because they have to deal with side lanes. So they're damage controlling better than Vici are, honestly, in a situation where they're behind. The gold lead has shrunk a lot.
3,000 gold behind still.
But it was 5.
It was much further ahead earlier. So Newbee doing a good job fighting from behind, something that we know that they can do and do quite frequently to get back into games.
Now, Dade has had these items
for a long time.
For a substantial amount of time. Quite frank, it's inefficient. If he could just buy himself a crit cloak, everyone would be happy. That to me means that maybe he's not.
Let's see if he does. As the mid lane inner turret, outer turret, sorry, is going to fall down. That was a really cool ward. Wonder who placed that down.
No, he's got his Infinity Edge now. That's what I was waiting for.
Newbee will be able to successfully then defend the inner turret. That is the Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer combo for the Yasuo.
Which means it's potentially teamfight time. If you look at the rest of the items that Newbee have actually compiled for themselves. 2 big tanky items for V. Straight into those. Almost the third for Swift, who is doing a lot of damage. Sivir's pretty happy in the position that she's in also. And whilst they are behind in strength, and Vici have a lot of momentum and a lot of control around Summoner's Rift, this is an opportunity for the relative strength that is the Newbee roster from item spikes to work their way back into this.
You can also look at the other side of the map. Vici do have nice item spikes for themselves. They're about 2.5 items for every single member on their team, except for Loong, who has a variety of components being picked up on his Trundle for now. Sitting with the Ravenous Hydra, being content with that. This red buff going to be taken away here by Endless.
Yeah, and they give it to the AD carry, so they didn't feel compelled to smite or take this one away. It's still nice on Dandy if it comes down to it. But we're just waiting once again.
Ashe is back up for Endless, who could possibly look for an engage if he finds the right opportunity. But Dade's group of the team, Windwall could ruin all of their plans.
Windwall actually ruins all of their plans.
Well, there is that arrow straight into a Windwall, but a good Bard Stun comes out, locks down Easyhoon to Bandy, but V goes in a little bit too early. Caveman with an early ultimate to separate the team. V getting locked down, taking a lot of damage. Endless has been left alone. Dade gets into the back lines, deals lots of damage, has to flash away. It's Endless getting so much damage down onto the front line of the team. There's the Destiny coming out straight on top of Happy and Swift. Getting put a lot of damage on towards the Sivir, forced to flash away. That's 3 members being taken down on the Newbee lineup.
And we spoke to the relative strength of Newbee, but if they miss the execution, things do not go to plan. They should not have Bard ulted those 2 targets that were stunned. They should have ulted the rest of the team and killed those 2 stunned targets. V had the right idea. The Bard ultimate turns him golden instead. And Dade gets in. He does a lot of damage, but he just dies because Vici do so much more. Easyhoon had the perfect flank this entire time.
And Endless was meant to be in mobile AD carry of Ashe, was able to deal good amount of damage in the backline there. Was kept relatively safe by the focus coming out from Newbee onto the other members of his team.
Yeah, and once again, the other big thing being that the Windwall blocked the Ashe arrow to kick the fight off, but Happy also spell shielded. They used a lot of things on the assumption it was going to hit.
On top of that, Dade couldn't use that Windwall when he went even further towards the backlines of Vici. Not able to use his defensive spell to keep himself alive. So Vici, they found another gold lead for themselves. They're now 5,000 gold up again, ahead of Newbee. So they're starting back where they were once they took the Baron buff.
Always eking advantages out, Vici. Never just outright establishing themselves. Even with the Baron buff, they put themselves at 5k. They keep themselves at 5k throughout.
Well, he took down both middle turrets during that engagement too. And Baron is going to be spawning in 40 seconds. Before that, though, it's going to be a Mountain Dragon that spawns at about 20. Dandy tries to take away the Scuttle Crab there as a Temper Fate does come out as well as an arrow straight onto the spell shield this time round.
Yeah, so Happy blocks it. And Newbee know that there's one big ultimate missing. It doesn't mean that they can't fight, however. Vici still definitely having control. It's a poke game from the Nidalee Spears. If they can connect on Endless at all, even Dandy to an extent, they will hurt.
Mountain Dragon has been leashed out by Dandy here. So Endless, Caveman and Dandy looking to try and take it down. That's a good teleport coming in to try and separate the team. But Dade's been caught out here in the back lines. Windwall's gone down, trying to separate from the rest of the team. He's trying to jump out of there. Quite frankly, able to do a good job so far, but will get taken down. Endless finds that kill. The rest of Newbee, though, focus on taking down the Mountain Dragon. Able to get away. Caveman taking the magical journey, looking for an opportunity to re-engage. But no Ashe arrow available.
Yeah, but they get themselves the 3rd Drake, and Dade is the sacrificial samurai, I suppose, this time around. It is out of necessity, and Swift and the rest of Newbee do well to even secure an objective from it, but it's a numbers mismatch.
25 seconds until Dade respawns here as a deep teleport comes in for Easyhoon. Ashe can connect
more.
on top of more. Flash forward from Caveman, does get the ultimate down as well. Dandy hops over the wall to get extra damage in too. And they find another pick on towards the supports of Newbee's lineup.
And
go straight towards Baron.
Exactly, with the Baron buff available, there is a lot of opportunity for Vici to just rush it down. Dade has teleport. And he's up now.
So Dade could definitely get into this fight, but the Baron is already really low. 2,000 health. They're looking to try and take it down. Swift tries to get over the wall here. It's going to be a smite battle between Dandy and Swift. Here comes Dade. He's teleported into the fight. Swift's gone over the wall. They're going to try and focus it out. Forced to flash out. Dade, he's already taken out Endless and Caveman, though. The bottom lane duo for Vici are gone. Swift now gets back in towards the pit. The Baron's going to go down to Newbee as Swift wins the smite battle. And what a good team fight for the Newbee roster.
And that was the big disconnect from Vici because they were looking half at Baron, half at the fight. Swift needs to be a little bit careful. A little bit. Either way, he's alive, and they get themselves that Baron buff on the back of his smite. They're not done.
Then look towards the mid lane inner tower as well as Dade. Still looking to try and chase down Easyhoon here. Suddenly, this game has turned back into Newbee's favor, so only 1,000 gold down.
So the thing about this fight is you can see Dandy and Loong are focusing on the Baron. Endless, Easyhoon, no one else from Vici are able to actually tank up for their team. And Dade's damage is unreasonably large. And so between Happy and Dade, they get big kills. And Swift secures the one objective that he was destined to look for.
Lots of mind games coming out from Swift and Dandy, from Swift there as well. Flashes, pounces into the pit, flashes back out. Vici really looked like they were trying to focus him down without doing any damage to the Baron.
They wanted to kill him before they killed the Baron so that the risk wasn't there. Nidalee has an execute with the Q smite as well that does more damage than what Dandy can. But still, the smite was used at 23 health, I think it was, from Swift. So he does well to get it at all, but cutting it close, honestly.
Certainly was. Did buy a lot of time for Newbee to position themselves well for that fight. Dade did a good job of taking down Endless and Caveman too. We can see what he's going to be picking up next here. Has the Bilgewater Cutlass, so Blade of the Ruined King, the next item for the Yasuo. Has his Quicksilver Sash as well to get out of any trouble.
And how the tables have turned as well. The gold lead has shrunk massively.
It's a dead even game once again. Vici, going later and later into this match. Both teams like the late game fights.
Yeah, they like them a lot.
They get there in different ways, and they're showing that one more time. Vici through those map rotations and macro play, and Newbee through just straight up team fighting you.
The thing is, by design, the late game for Vici still looks like a team fight. And that is what Newbee excel at.
Well, Loong now is going to get jumped on by 3 members up on the top side for Newbee. Now 4 grouping up towards the top lane in the turret. Easyhoon gets jumped on. Caveman puts down the ultimate there to try and separate the rest of the team. It's still a little bit of a skirmish here, but Maokai being locked down quite nicely by that pillar that comes out for Loong. Dandy meanwhile on the back line takes a lot of damage coming out from the Sivir. Swift looking for that final spear, can't quite connect it. And Easyhoon now trying to get a stun card down, but they have to back away from this turret. There's a good and valiant effort coming out from the Vici lineup, but Newbee, they're able to take down the turret.
Yeah, V's too tanky, and Dade actually holds his ultimate as well to scare them into walking away. Dandy was too low. It looks like Newbee aren't actually done with this.
They're going to keep pushing on forward. This turret is going to get taken down here, or eventually. Vici, though, threatening a fight, trying to stop them from going any further forward. Endless is looking to try and find a good arrow.
Whoa,
that's a great ultimate coming out from Dade there. Locks up so many members. QS has to keep himself alive. Happy's been able to take down Endless. Easyhoon is running for the hills with less than 100 health. Vici trying to walk all over this Vici roster. As Newbee will be able to find the inhibitor turret up in the top lane and take down the inhibitor as well.
They get themselves the big inhib, and that's why Dade saved his ultimate. Held onto it and used it to get back in with the tornado. And Vici just cannot out-teamfight that afterwards. The QSS to keep him alive. Easyhoon stuns proving fruitless. They break the base. They get themselves a gold lead for what looks like one of the first times in this game properly.
2,000 gold for Newbee. 32 minutes into this game as Destiny is going to come out trying to find Swift one more time.
Here's Nidalee. Look how fast he runs.
Yep, just goes into the bush, gets his passive going, and pounces away.
Yeah, good luck. But yeah, big lead now. And not in the way of gold, simply because that inhibitor's broken. The Dragon's the next point of focus that they want to look towards as well.
There you go. It was 5,000 gold up for Vici as they went for the risky Baron, which Newbee played around really well to pull themselves back into this game. And now another team fight and 2 more objectives. put Newbee firmly in the lead.
Yeah. Funnily enough, this feels absolutely what we expect from both of these teams.
Yep.
And how they got to the position they did, but the Baron call from Vici, I feel like was cocky because it worked the first time. They did get it low, but everyone dying for it was never going to be beneficial anyway.
Dandy was trying to find a pick on towards Happy there, but V shows himself and stops the aggression. You see the Baron power play, 6,000 gold for Newbee. Exactly what they needed to get a lead and to get back into this game as well.
And a lot of tools to defuse the Ashe arrow, which is the primary source of Vici's engage. QSS's purchase, Sivir spell shields, Braum to counter engage. They've got a lot of tools here now available to them, even with that wind wall. They can continue to siege when that's off cooldown.
And there goes the Ashe arrow straight on top of V, though. The pillar not in a great position this time round. Vici immediately decides to disengage.
That's thankfully cooldown reduction Ashe build, not the outright Infinity Edge build, which means the arrow will be up again and again. And you can constantly try and throw those ones out, like a 45-second cooldown. However, Newbee's cooldowns are lower.
I also went for the Mercurial Scimitar on the Ashe, so it does have the option to remove crowd control, but sacrifices damage in doing so. See, Easyhoon's picked up some nice items for himself on top of that. As yes, it's another Cloud Dragon.
There's so many clouds.
They're going to run fast if Newbee take this.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone's going to contest this one. It'd be a miracle to even see it stolen. No Ashe arrow.
Which means Elder Dragon's going to be spawning at 41 minutes in this game. Baron's going to be back up in a minute here.
The third.
Vici are not out of this game just yet. They're still 2,000 gold behind Newbee, but it is a 35-minute match. So this gold lead is slowly becoming negligible between the two teams.
Can you say that again?
No. I'm not giving you this opportunity.
Negligible. Yeah, no, you're right. The gold lead means less and less as the game progresses, as long as the carries are getting these items. The tanks are always going to be tanks.
Arrows are going to be arrows.
Yeah, well, apparently they're just going to miss. Last one hit V as well. Endless does not have a lot of targets. His best target is actually Mor, because Mor did not go for a QSS, he went for a Mikhail's, that he can use for Swift and V. I mean, realistically, that should be the target they hit. And speaking of...
Tempered Fate straight on top of Endless. He can't get out of this one quite easy there. Uses the QSS quite nicely, but the rest of the team just collapses on top of the Ashe. That's the 80 carry gone for the Vici lineup. But Dade's not stopping. Gets another ultimate. A double kill for the Yasuo. V picks up a kill for Newbee as well. And that's 3 members of Vici down. Newbee are looking towards the Nexus now as they storm through the base.
Yeah, it's a lot of big key members dead. Easyhoon and Loong are the damage, the wave clear, and the tankiness. But against 5... and against the wind walls, the QSSs and the Mikhails, it's not likely.
Mor finds that stun, flashes forward for it. Another kill comes out. Swift picks one up. Loong is going to take it down on top of this. Newbee, they're able to come back from a 5,000 gold deficit, working on the Nexus turrets now, and they're going to take game 1 against Vici.
And in a very stylistic manner, we see Newbee handle Vici around the map. Drafting favored them, and a lot of brash decisions looking for epic monsters has backfired heavily against Vici's favor. Not a position they'd want to find themselves in.
The game went exactly as we expected it to, though. Vici,
till the end result.
Vici getting ahead through map plays. Newbee going to late game through sheer team fighting. And it was just the team fighting from Newbee that came